I tell you what, you pay close attention and see if this right here for most of you out there tonight, see if this don't bring back some precious, fond childhood memories to you about your mother and that covered dish. You think back a long time ago now when you was like, oh, just yay big. It'd be late in the evening, early nighttime. Everybody's out on the front porch after supper, about half asleep. Pot roast to do that to you. Remember those the good old days in America where a mother forced the kids to overeat. Made them eat. All right, y'all don't eat all that pot roast. I ain't gonna make another one. Well, hell. Do you remember this? Remember as a little kid, we'd all be sitting on the doorsteps, the kid would. All the grown folks could spend an hour discussing among themselves the last time it came a good rain. To a small kid, that never made no sense. But we couldn't say nothing back in those days. You couldn't back talk your folks. But they'd be sitting on the front porch, somebody would go, boy, we sure could use a good rain. Hell, it ain't rained real good since that last Friday in May. Somebody's going, no, hell, it's rained since then. No, I'll tell you how I know. They're Friday for Memorial Day. Memorial Day is last Monday in May. Friday before that, my car broke down on I-20. Had to walk 3 miles to the payphone. I got soaked. Last damn Friday in May. So I said, no, I'll tell you what. It rained the second Saturday in June. Reason you don't know, you was in jail that weekend. Then he said, well, that wasn't my fault. If y'all got a bondsman, I could have got out there on Friday. Then somebody else would say, well, anyway, we need rain. Well, yeah, I didn't say we didn't need no rain. And in our little hearts as children, we were sitting on the doorstep thinking to ourselves, who gives a rat's ass when it rains? You know, people should laugh every day. It's good for you. The problem is you can't go out and see a comedian every night of the week. You people have got to learn to amuse yourselves. And I'm going to give you a couple of tips. Like, for instance, the next time you're the lead car in a funeral procession, make a wrong turn. Oh, what the heck? Lead everybody through a car wash. Hot wax for the bereaved. They like that, you know. And my favorite thing, you can do this anytime. The next time you're in the supermarket, put things in other people's buggies when they're not looking. And then get behind them in the checkout line. I swear, you'll see them, they're just like this, like. I don't remember getting that. Then they'll pay for it. Now, in case you all haven't noticed this so far, I'll point it out to you. I don't do any sexual or political humor, and I'll tell you why. I keep getting the two confused. Really, I was on this television show in New York some weeks ago, and they asked me, they said, what do you think about the Middle East position? Don't be getting ahead of me on this. I said, well, heck, I enjoyed it. But it hurt my wife's back. Do you ever think about what dumb things people say? Now, I don't mean dumb things that dumb people say. They're supposed to. Really, it's kind of like their job. I'm talking about the dumb things that intelligent, cultured, sophisticated people, like me and you. Y'all sitting there saying, us maybe. You know this television show, Knight Rider? The next time you're watching that show and there's other people in the room, somebody in the room, usually a college graduate, somebody will say, "I'll bet you that's somebody else doing that voice." You feel like saying, "Boy, that education's paid off for you." But we don't, though. We say, "Oh, it probably is." Probably like it's open for debate. You know. And remember when you was a little kid, how somebody that you loved a lot would say things out of ignorance that would embarrass you sometime? My mother would do that. Somebody remember back in high school when you had to diagram sentences? My mother was at a PTA meeting. She asked my teacher, she said, "How's Junior doing?" That was me. The teacher said, "Well, he's doing pretty good, but he's having trouble with his dangling participle." True story, my mother says, "Well, he can't help it." It's been that way since he was 3 years old. What happened was he got it caught in the spokes of his tricycle. Oh, it was awful. It went right over the handlebars. He just laid out there and hollered and hollered. See, when you're a small child, the adult language doesn't make any sense. My mother would come out on the porch and she'd say, "If you fall out of that tree and break your leg, I'm going to whip your butt." And I'm thinking, what a cool woman. Our parents worried about kids, and see, I've got a generation now who don't worry too much about kids because they're into the animal rights stuff. They're worrying about birds and bugs. This is the generation that set aside 2 million acres in the Pacific Northwest for the spotted owl. Are you happy about that? But brace yourself. $2 million acres for an owl. A bird. It's a bird. It's a damn bird. It's a bird. And they tell you so, oh, they'll be on the Larry King show. Just on the verge of tears. Oh, Larry. There's just not very many of those owls left. And I'm like, so? When was the last time you walked into a pet shop and said, "Damn, you're out of owls"? It's a bird. Here's what finally sent me over the top with these people. 3 years ago in California, Southern California, Los Angeles area, they stopped the construction of a new highway project. Now get this. $180 million was total cost. Like a highway spur. This big area here is congested. The highway spur is going to relieve traffic this way. Got 1/3 completed. That's $60 million of our money they spent, tax dollars, and abandoned the project when they realized that this new highway was going directly into the nesting area of the endangered, long-tailed kangaroo rat. A rat. A damn rat. I don't care what they call it, picture it in your mind, it's a rodent. Every generation until this one for 400 years would see a rat go, "There's a rat, kill it." These buffoons were jumping up and down going, "Stop the highway, stop the highway. There's a rat in the road." It's a damn rat. They tell us that this rat needs 2,000 acres. So it'll have room to mate.
And you think I'm going to act like and just pretend that I'm some kind of pseudo-intellectual and like, oh yeah, let me tell you something. No. As a layman, a very simple-minded layman, here's what I know. When it comes to the human species, 2 full-size adults can mate in the back seat of a Honda Civic.
There has been so much talk in recent years about all this bad shape the country's in, the violence and this, and the kids out of control, and it's just out of control. It's just, oh, Lord, what we're going to do. Well, see, I'm one of those people that don't think that's a big problem. When the American people used to eat food and had eating habits the way our parents and grandparents did, our ancestors did, we were not a weak, sniveling population. In recent years, we've become a nation of pissers, moaners, and whiners. Everybody's a wuss. Everybody's sensitive, just sensitive. That's why the kids are out of control. As long as we ate greasy, fried food, a lot of grease, we was in good shape. When we switched to rotisserie, the country took a dive. There's no men left in America anymore. When we cut off the grease flow to our brain, the backbone shrunk. We got men, grown American men, going out to lunch now, walking up to the counter and saying to the guy behind the counter, "Is that rotisserie?" I believe I can have a small piece if it's rotisserie. I can't eat the skin. Is it skinless? Ah, damn. We got men, grown American men, whose idea of breakfast now is a banana and a muffin. A muffin, God help us, they're eating muffin. And you wonder why the country's out of control? Ain't nobody in charge. You know this, rotisserie was only available in fast food chicken places in this country just 6, 8, 9 years ago. You know that. But it's not a new food item. They've been eating rotisserie in France for 200 years. But France is a wuss nation. That's why we always have to fight their damn wars for them. They never had no men over there. And now that's what's happening to us. You think about this. I'm going to make you feel better about classroom violence. Now, you follow my theory on this. And I say this tonight because I want you to leave here feeling better about everything. See, what we used to think was a big problem was a big problem. Our parents and forefathers, a big problem to them was seeing a son having to go off to war. That was something to worry about. And now, with this generation coming along, we're just paralyzed with fear. We're just worried silly over nothing. You know what the biggest fear in America is today? Secondhand smoke. What we gonna do? Look. Oh, look, he lit up. Get in the house. He lit up.
By the way, you know, I joke about California, I tease them, but they're good folks. I've been out there, they have a great sense of humor. The main reason I don't go too often is the distance. To get to California and get back and stay on schedule, you gotta fly. Now, some of y'all may know already, I've had this lifelong fear of air travel. I don't mind flying, say, once a year, just to catch up on my drinking and my praying. To me, there's no such thing as a safe airplane. At 30,000 feet, if something comes loose and falls off, it's pretty much over. It's not like you can go, shh. Where's that noise coming from? I'm gonna pull off up here and see what that is. And they know it's not safe. That's why they overly brag about their safety features. They seem to be especially proud of their flotation seat. Every single flight, regardless of the destination, they talk about the flotation seat. Even got a video they show the passengers now, where it's located, how to use it, how to get to it, how to strap it on. That's going to save our life if they make an emergency landing in the ocean. And see, psychologically, if they know what they're doing, that makes us feel better just knowing that's on the aircraft. But then if we stop to think, I'm like, well, hell, I'm taking off in Georgia. We're going to be landing in California. There ain't no damn ocean.
And see, I tell you something else, too. Don't worry about these celebrities. I'm so tired of these celebrities trying to tell you and me what our priorities ought to be. Save the environment. All these young couples now, they got 5 trash cans in their kitchen. They're so proud of themselves because they recycle. We recycle. They don't know where Junior is, but they know where the beer bottles fell. This is for cans, this is for plastic, this is for paper. Their lives are out of control, but damn it, they're going to save the earth. They do about these celebrity hypocrites. Next time you hear Barbara Streisand and those people talking about saving the environment, let's think about these people. They're the ones that went into Aspen, Colorado with their plastic teeth and their silicone and the bulldozers. And they uprooted trees that had been there for thousands of years to build their little 10,000 square foot weekend hideaway. Aspen is so congested now, they're trying to destroy Telluride, Colorado. Well, after these celebrities got all that built for themselves, now they're lecturing me and you on how to put 5 trash cans in our tiny kitchen to save a damn bush. Barbara Streisand can kiss my eyes. You know, so. And let's not worry about that spotted owl. See, you can't say these things at work. You can't, I mean, some of these things are in your gut you can't say. You may lose your job. That don't apply to me. I've already buried all the money I need. So I can tell you that I hope that damn owl dies. It's a bird, it don't do nothing. I'd like to be on the Oprah Winfrey show. Her said, Mr. Gregory, why did they invite you on the show today? I said, because I killed the spotted owl. Well, why did you do that? I said, because on my car. And you and I know nothing too. You and I are supposed to pretend that we're concerned about the homeless. Oh, look. Well, yank. I don't give a rat's ass about them. I'm fed up with them. Here's what you can try. Next time you see the guy standing on the corner with that cardboard sign, I will work for food. You know the guy's been out there every day now for 3 years. Lucrative location. Won't you pull over? Open your car door. Say, hey, fella, I see your sign there. You'll work for food. I got an acre of land that needs clearing off. Hop in. He won't get in. I know there's a guy a few blocks from my house, same corner every morning, almost for 3 months, getting on my nerves, really. So one morning when traffic wasn't too bad, I pulled over. He had this sign that says, I will work for food. I offered this guy an onion to paint my house. Yeah. He gave me the finger. So the homeless can be rude. You know? Hell, it was a Vidalia. Let me tell you something. If you have not said this already, you will in a few years, but you heard your parents or your grandparents say it. And that is, they'll say, I don't think I'll ever be as happy again as I was as a small child. That was true yesterday, today, that'll be true forever. Small children will always be happier than adults because small children haven't learned yet that they're supposed to worry about their appearance, what they look like. That all becomes important when you approach your teens and you want to start going out with people. And when you look like I do, you end up dating some of the ugliest creatures. No, but I'm going to tell you fellas something, once you get used to it, it ain't all that bad. I remember the first girl I went with in high school. I'm not going to say she was a dog, but when I met her, she was 15 years old. Now that'd be 105 to me and you. And also, just to clarify one thing, I don't want you to think that I pick on Mississippi. I love that state. I love those people. I work over there quite a bit. I'm just upset with them because a few weeks ago, I got the only traffic ticket of my adult life down there. I'd always been told if you ever get stopped by the Mississippi State Police, don't be rude. Have a good sense of humor. Kind of joke around with the patrolman. Oh, I wouldn't do that again. No, I got stopped for speeding, and he said to me, he said, can I see your license? And I said, if I can play with your gun. Well, but I'm going to tell you something, though. Some of the best cornbread I ever had in my life was in their jail down there. You're my kind of people. But we got to get out of here. I'm going to leave you with a tip. Some night when you're sitting home watching television by yourself and you need a laugh and a commercial comes on, close your eyes during the commercial. And that way, if you're not looking at it, you will listen more carefully to what they're saying. And you will soon discover that during these commercials, they're telling us things we don't need to know. Information we don't want. You know the commercial for Preparation H? I'm not going to make fun of the commercial. That's what they say. They say that 30 million Americans have hemorrhoids. The first thought that comes to my mind is, wonder who county. How would you go about applying for that job? You know, yeah, I'm here about the ad in the paper. Counting butts. See, this is a product manufactured for a very limited market. If you use Preparation H, you have a problem. Trust me, this is not an impulse purchase. It's not like you're just strolling down the aisle of the grocery store. You happen to see it on the shelf, and you said, my. I simply must try some of this. No. If you're buying it, you know what to do with it. But yet on every package of Preparation H you've ever seen, in big bold letters, it says, use only as directed. You know what that means? Sometime in the past, some nut has said to his wife, honey, wonder how this would taste on crackers. You know, if I could be serious for a moment, you know, you hear people say all the time that we Americans aren't as civilized as we used to be, not as humane as we once were. After all these years that have gone by, half the people blame that on Vietnam, the other half blame it on Watergate. I blame the whole situation on Colonel Sanders. And I know you're sitting there and you're saying, I hope he explains that. I will, that's my job. You realize before Colonel Sanders came along, the only thing that ate dinner out of a bucket was a hog? Now he's got everybody doing it. Let's say you go down to the Kentucky Fried Store. They're waiting on the man in front of you. He's about 5'8". He weighs 340 pounds. He can't hardly breathe. And I'm glad to see y'all find that funny. Yeah, man's gasping for air. Yeah, we'll laugh at that. You're my kind of people. Now, you know how they got the menu on the wall over the counter? All this man can do is breathe and point. Like, And the girl says, "Can I help you?" I feel so stupid doing this. At this point in the show every night, you know what thought goes through my mind? James, why don't you just go get a job? It's too late. You know, I could have been a forklift operator. I could. My dad was, and his dad before him. When I got out of high school, my dad could have got me on down there at the plant where he works, just like that. But did I take it? No. I want a bucket of chicken. And then the girl says something ridiculous like, "How do you want that cooked? You want original, extra crispy, or what?" Trust me, people, this man don't care. She could spit in there, he don't care. Give him a live chicken, he'll kill it. She's talking to a human being that's about to eat a bucket of food. And by the way, have you noticed that's one thing that all of us fat people have in common? We'll do anything in the world to lose weight except quit eating. We like to read books, join clubs. Matter of fact, we like to read a good diet book while we're eating a box of cookies. You know? And I've tried every fad diet that come along. Remember Dr. Stillman's water diet? You had to drink 14 glasses of water every 24 hours. I lost 2 pounds the first day. My bladder fell out. But I tell you what, I invented a diet. You fat people write this down, I don't mind. What you do before every meal, you drink a half a pint of Seagram 7. You're still hungry, but you can't find your mouth. You know, fat people will eat anywhere. I hate it when they eat in bed. It's nighttime, you take a shower, you crawl between the sheets, and there's tater chips in there.
No, this is true. Now, we respond to every tragedy in life with food. Could be a law, I don't know. A covered dish. We'll knock on somebody's front door and go, "Sorry to hear about your son-in-law. Here's some baked beans." We would come in for a minute, but Walmart closes at 12. And if I'm going to that funeral, I need me something real nice to wear. You know, I'll tell you something else about us Baptists. And I'm just assuming y'all are Baptists. Well, look, I'll prove it to you. I want you to applaud if you are Catholic. If you're Catholic, applaud. See? Not many. But we're glad to have you with us. And tell the Pope I said, hey. I know he's been in town this whole week, but I had to work.